Guys, it's Karen and we're here to talk face shaving. So dermaplaning is its technical term, and I've had a lot of requests for this over the years. It's something that I just wasn't really interested in. I felt like if I started it I would need to continue on with it, and I wasn't sure I wanted that sort of stubbly feeling, and I worried that there was maybe some risks involved. But having looked into this and experienced it myself, I am really surprised at the results. So I'll tell you what I found out, and then I'll talk about my experience, and I've got little videos of me shaving my face for you to see how I did it. So face shaving is exactly that, shaving your face. And there seems to be two sort of layers to it and two reasons you could do it. The first one is to get rid of peach fuzz, baby hair. It's actually known as vellus hair, and interestingly nobody knows the purpose of vellus hair. And vellus hair is, normally I've got like little baby hairs up here. I also had a bit of a sideburn of hair down here, really soft hair, and as I was getting older there was more and more coming down here, and I could notice it when I put my self tan on. And I also noticed that foundation always looked darker on my lip, and I just assumed that that was down to the baby hair. So you can remove baby hair, and the reason for doing that would just be if it bothers you. Certainly my baby hairs up here have always bothered me, and I have sat and plucked them out. That's mostly what I've done. I did try to actually shave them once and it was a bit of a disaster. So you could just want to leave it at that, take off the baby hair from where you can see it and leave it at that. But if you do it all over your face and take off all of the hair, what you can also do is remove I don't know whether you'd remove the whole layer, but you can remove dead skin and you can give yourself a really good exfoliation. The way that it's done, you can have it done in a salon, although I've never seen a salon advertising it, but I have seen on YouTube that there are some estheticians talking about the process. You can have it done in a salon with a scalpel, and so I suspect that's the safest, that's the most effective way of having it done. And it's a treatment that I would definitely consider having done in a salon, because I'm never going to take a scalpel, an actual medical scalpel, to my face. I just wouldn't trust myself. So you can have it done in a salon, or you can do it at home. And at home you can do it either using these, and these are just little, they seem to call them eyebrow razors, or you can use a little mini razor, a little mini battery operated shaver like the ones that men use for their beards. The idea, if you use these at home, you take the top off, there's a blade there, is that you hold your skin taut and you move it in small movements. I imagined, if I show you on my hand, I imagined it would be like this, in stripes like that. That's how I thought you would do it, but you don't. You actually do it in little movements like this. So you would start at the top, hold your skin taut, and move like this downwards with a fairly firm pressure. I would start off with a light pressure and see at what pressure you need to remove what you want to remove. Supposedly you should hold it at a 45 degree angle. So I looked up the risks, expecting to see something, and I looked for risks, you know, as in putting in dermaplaning dangers or face shaving dangers, and there really aren't any. It actually seems that this is considered safer, and when I say considered, this is by the medical industry, considered safer than microdermabrasion, considered safer than microneedling. And I guess because you're not piercing the skin, you're not grazing the skin at all, you are just taking off the top layer of skin, if that. And something I didn't know and never came across while I was in the hospital, in any of the dermatology projects I worked on, I've never seen this, but apparently it's used as standard practice in dermatology for some eczema cases. Some people that have just got persistent dry scaly skin will have this done clinically, and the results are amazing. There was one particular case of a lady that had persistent eczema in her ear, and they used it for that and showed the before and after pictures, and it was just, she was delighted and it looked so much better, obviously. So many surprises in this whole journey. It's really surprised there doesn't appear to be any risks. I would say there is a slight risk. There's a risk if you get a scalpel. There's a risk if you use this too hard, because I did have a tiny little red mark on my hand. I first tried it on my arm and I did it too hard and there was a little bit of redness there. So I think there is some small risks if you're not careful. Research isn't really applicable because this is something that it's a fact that if you use this, it takes off the top layer of skin. It's not something that needs to be proven. I suppose there could be testing in how well it works for acne scarring or eczema, etc., but there doesn't seem to be any research at the moment. It just seems to be known that it is good for that. The benefits are listed as, obviously you get rid of the hair that you don't want, but that you're giving yourself a good exfoliation, as I said, so you're taking off the dead skin, so you'll have brighter skin, smoother feeling skin, that your foundation will sit better, that your skincare will penetrate better, and that it will generally make your skin look better. I know that people have concerns about it, and my concerns were that it may not be particularly safe, like I said, and I suppose we don't know what this vellus hair is there for and whether it has a purpose. Kind of like the appendix, it's the same story with that. But I'm sure there is a reason for all of these things, and it's not that there isn't a reason, it's just that we don't know it. And so from that aspect, I am a bit like, well, you know, is it allowing more bacteria into the skin because the hair isn't there to maybe catch the bacteria? So we don't know if that's the case or not. But I know that other people's concerns are whether or not you'll end up with, you know, a big beard like a man, or really dark stubble that you can see, and that definitely isn't the case. But when you shave hair, you're just cutting it bluntly, and so it will feel like stubble, but it will feel like extremely soft, sort of velvety stubble, and it'll only feel like that for a couple of days. So it probably is likely that once you start this, you'll want to continue it, but it's not. I don't think it's expensive, it's not difficult, it's not painful, it's not time consuming, and so I haven't found that to be a problem. I'm not like, oh no, damn it, now I need to do this every month. I don't think it'll be an issue. So that's all the facts. Let me tell you about my experience and what I did. Being a bit of a wimp, I wanted to try it what I thought was the least painful way first, which was, I had watched Angie from Hot and Flashy, watched her video, and she had that little handheld device, which is just a battery operated shaver. So I thought, let me try that. It worked very minimally on me. I tried to get rid of my baby hairs with it up here and it didn't really work. I could get it caught a few here, but that I think is only for you if you simply want to remove tiny baby hairs that you can't really see. I don't think that will take off a layer of dead skin. I don't think that will give you a really good exfoliation. It's only going to take the hair off. So I thought, okay, there's no choice but to do it the way that I think most people do it, which is with these eyebrow shapers or eyebrow razors. And I already had some that I had bought to try and do my eyebrows, but I had tried to use them on my eyebrows and they were terrible. And I don't know why I kept them, but I did because they were new. You know, they came in a pack of 3, and so I kept them. And I started off trying to use this, and it just didn't work. So I ended up ordering some more, and these ones are by Shiseido, and I would highly recommend these ones. And they weren't expensive. I think they were $5.99 for 3. I'll link them for you because they look almost exactly the same, but the difference between these two was immense. This one was really rough and barely taking anything off, whereas this one, I was like, oh, okay, that's what it's supposed to be like. You have to cleanse your face thoroughly before using this, and I think that's really important because you don't want to be, although you would only be scraping it off, you don't want to start with a dirty face. Even if you don't wear makeup, I would still say to cleanse your face so that you are taking, you know, you're removing the dead skin, and you're not, if you did scratch it, if you've then got makeup on or dirt or oil or sweat, when I say oil, I mean oils from the skin. If you then did catch the skin, that wouldn't be very good. So definitely cleanse your face. But I had watched an esthetician on YouTube doing it actually, and she was saying that she preferred to use an oily makeup remover because it then gave a little bit of slip to it. And so I thought, you know, I'm going to try it by, I completely cleansed my face, used my micellar water, and I then used a tiny little bit of oil. I just put it all over my face and neck, and then I used this, and I liked doing it that way. And do you remember I did that with the micro needling that I did? I just feel that it's less damaging to the skin, and you could see that you were taking the oil off, but I could see that it was working because I had a tissue, and what was coming off was tan because I had self-tanned either the night before or 2 nights ago, and all that was coming off was tan, and so it was definitely working. And I could not wait to put my makeup on the next day. I just thought, I could see that my skin looked a bit more flawless. I could see that it looked smooth. You know, a lot of the time your skin feels smooth if you do a great exfoliation, but it doesn't look smooth, I don't think, whereas I felt like I could see a difference. It looked really smooth. And so I put my makeup on the following day, and sure enough, it looks more airbrushed. I feel like even now my face looks more airbrushed. I thought I'd get you close up so you could just have a quick look and see what you think. I just feel like there's something more sort of airbrushed or, you know, perfected about the foundation. And I don't mean perfect, because I can see that I've got lumps and bumps under my skin, and, you know, got a weird mark there on my cheek. I just feel like my foundation is sitting even better than I thought it could, because I didn't really feel like it wasn't sitting well before. So it definitely passed the foundation test, the foundation applying better. And last night I thought, well, let me put a self tan on and see if that's any better, because I have noticed when I put a self tanner on that the colour would definitely be darker around this bit here where I had all of those baby hairs, and I can see that there isn't, you know, it hasn't gathered there. So it's been really beneficial. I feel like my tan is more even. I feel like the foundation isn't gathering and going darker on the top of my lip, because I did the top of my lip, I just sort of held it like so and, you know, did it like that. So as you can probably tell, I'm super impressed. I absolutely love it, and I will need to be careful that I don't overdo it, because I was thinking, oh, this will be great when my tan is fading and I really want to get off patchiness. And in fact, I tried this, well, not this one that I've now thrown away, but I tried it on my toe. On my big toe, when I put self tanner on my feet, there's just one area that it just seems to gather, and so I just used this and sort of went over it, and it took off a little bit of tan. And I thought this will work really well if you've got a little bit of tan that's attached to a bit of dry skin, because you're exfoliating it, you know. And I also used another one, which I've thrown away, on the top of my bikini line. And I was just curious to see if it would work, and it does. And I think it would be really good for, how can I explain this? I think it would be good for the bikini line that you can see when looking straight on. I think the going underneath would be painful and tricky and difficult and risky. But the bit that you can see looking straight on, this is really good, because like I said, you're not only taking off the hair, you're taking off a bit of dead skin. And so if you have any problems with ingrown hairs or anything, I think it may well help it. So I did this on my face about 4 days ago, something like that. And like I said, my foundation applied fantastically the next day. The following day after that, so 2 days later, I did think, oh my goodness, I've now got stubble. And I was like, oh, that's too weird for me to have stubble, you know, and especially this bit up here for some reason. This is probably the toughest of the baby hairs, if you like, and there is a little bit of stubble, but you can't see stubble here. I can feel now a tiny, tiny bit, but it just feels like velvet. It doesn't feel bad at all. It's not the kind of thing that, you know, somebody's going to feel and go, oh my God, you shave your face. But maybe with this bit here, and you can actually see the stubble now here. So you can see the stubble there. So although these are really good, it's not the closest shave you're ever going to get, but that's not really the point of it, you know. So you can see that it's grown back pretty quickly there, but I don't mind that. Okay, so I am going to shave my face, and I'm going to use this. This is the Shiseido razor, and this is only the second time I've done this, and the last time I did it was, I think it was more than 6 weeks ago. And I say that because I took that sabbatical for 5 weeks, and it was at least a week before that I did it, and I lost the footage. So the footage you are seeing of me talking about face shaving is way back, it's very old, but I wanted to be able to demo it for you. So I've been waiting and waiting for it to grow out again. So you can see here, this little bit of sideburn has grown out again. I definitely took that off, but there was a lot more hair here. So strangely, it hasn't come back as thick as it was. So, you know, that shows you that it definitely doesn't come back thicker, because there's less here than there was before. I don't know whether this bit will come off with just this, but we'll give it a go. I can't remember if last time I used just this or whether I went in with a razor, but the first thing I'm going to do is put some oil on. This is rosehip oil. It doesn't really matter which oil you use. I just picked up the first oil I had in here. I just found it made it easier. It gave it more slip, but you still definitely got the hairs off. So I'm just going to put some of this all over, but I am going to cleanse afterwards. Okay, so the way you do it is by small movements down your face. So I'm going to get a bit of tissue. You can see that that has taken off a lot of hair. But I don't know how much of that is just that top bit. And of course, because I self-tan, you will see that the hair looks kind of grubby. Let's try again with that. Yes, I think I did use this, thinking about it now, I'm remembering, but it actually leaves a little bit of stubble. This baby hair at the top here is, oh, I've actually, was that blood I saw there? Yeah, you can see I've done that a little bit too harsh. I've actually made it bleed. Well, here's what not to do. That's typical me being too harsh. You should probably only go over very lightly and, you know, don't keep going over the same area. And I was doing it a bit harder on there in order to try and get those baby hairs off. This isn't a good start, is it? I think I'm going to leave this area and I'm just going to use either tweezers or a little razor. It's funny, it's not grown back as much there because it doesn't seem to work as well for the longer hairs. You know, this is definitely for those little fine baby hairs, not for, these are my actual hairs, if that makes sense. And so I was obviously went over it too much and did it too harshly. So let's just ignore this top area. And like I said, you can take that as what not to do. But you do it lightly. And they say to go over a few times and just make your way down. Let me show you what comes off when you do it. For me, you'll mostly see tan. So it does take a little bit of your skin off along with the hair. You'd be surprised how much hair you have as well. So can you see there? That's taken some hair off. Now, bear in mind, this is a demo, not a tutorial, because I'm not, you know, I don't have any skincare qualifications and I'm not experienced in this. This is the second time I'm doing it. I'm just showing you what I did, and you know, I really enjoyed the result last time, so hopefully I will this time as well. And I can instantly feel my forehead just feels amazingly soft. Yeah, it feels lovely. I probably shouldn't be touching it. My hands. I have washed my hands, by the way. So for the side here, I just do like that. Be careful over that little, got a couple of moles on my face that I need to be careful of. Okay, so onto the side of the face. This kind of bit here is where I got the most, I guess, satisfaction. I don't know whether it will get that long hair or not. We'll see. I don't want to make it bleed like I did up there. Yeah, it has got it. That has got it. I'm trying to be a bit lighter handed than I was on my forehead, obviously, so that I don't break my skin. But still get those long hairs. Okay. This bit's the most, I was like, wow, I didn't realise there was so much hair on this. Now, bearing in mind, that's been 6 weeks since I did it. And some of it's still on my face. So I'm just wiping the blade on a piece of tissue. What you could do as well is spray the blade with alcohol before you use it and just wave it about and let the alcohol evaporate. Just very lightly do over the nose. Like I said, this is not a tutorial because this is possibly not the exact way that you're supposed to do it. I know that you're supposed to go down your face and do it in little increments like that, but the angles, etc., that I'm holding it at are not necessarily exactly right, but I'm sort of finding my feet and doing this the way that feels like I'm not going to hurt myself, you know. Not that I did a great job on that forehead with that theory, but you know. Oh yeah, I can see that. Okay, so I'm going to show you that on here on this tissue. Bearing in mind, I did cleanse my face this morning, so all I've done is put oil on it, and so what you're seeing is the hair and a little bit of dead skin, which for my skin has a little bit of tan left on it. That's me done. So I'm going to use some simple micellar water on a cotton pad and just go over my face to take off any residue. If you don't like using micellar water, as I know a lot of people don't, use a toner. Just a gentle toner, make sure it's got no alcohol in it, which I know is difficult with toners. And I'm just taking any residue of that oil or, you know, hair that I've not picked up. Okay, now is the perfect time to put on whatever serum you would like to get to the deepest level. So whatever is your primary concern, you know, if it's acne, now put on your acne medications, and if it's aging, you've got plenty of choice. I'm going to put on the Buffet and Copper. So I've got about that much. I've just washed my hands again as well. And there's a tiny bit of stinging. For me, obviously a little bit stinging up here where I broke the skin. Try not to do that if you can. I don't think there's many people that are as heavy-handed as I am. Buffet and Copper dries pretty quickly, although it's still quite tacky. I am going to follow that with the Ethyl Vitamin C because I am going out in a few hours. Oops. So I will put this on, and because this has a sort of oily feel to it, it will be enough. My skin won't feel tight, and I will put my SPF on just before I go out. I just want these products to have time to work on their own. And that again is stinging slightly. That's me done. I've specifically done this on a day where I don't need to wear makeup because I think it's really good once you're, you know, removing a layer of dead skin to use it as a day to give your skin space to breathe, I guess, but maybe not to be putting things like foundation and heavy makeup on, but rather to be putting good skincare ingredients on. So if I wasn't going out, I would probably just let this sink in and then maybe put something else on, and, you know, throughout the day be adding different things in. And then when I come back from my walk, I probably will cleanse my face again and put something else on it. So maybe niacin, something like that. We'll see. I'll see how my skin's feeling. So that's everything to tell you about this. I'll link the razors that I've used that are good in the description. I'm going to order some more of them. Let me know your experiences. What are the benefits to you? What do you find best about it? Are you addicted like me? I'll list all of my makeup in the description as well.